Today is Friday, January 21st. What to know about Ukrainian officials apparently working against their own country and helping Russia from the inside. Also, a record number of Americans calling out sick, and it's impacting everyone from doctors to pilots to pop stars. Plus, could a peanut allergy be cured? New research shows it may be possible. A new clothing store brings Amazon's algorithms to life. And just when you got Let It Go out of your head, another Disney song is ranking even higher on the charts. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The world is still watching closely to see if Russia will really invade Ukraine. But American officials now say some of Ukraine's biggest threats come from within. They say 4 Ukrainian officials have been working with the Russian government to destabilize Ukraine. The U.S. imposed economic sanctions on all 4 of them this week. American government officials say they've been working with Russia since 2020 to make it harder for Ukraine to function independently, that they've been feeding bad information to Ukrainian news channels and undermining other government officials there. Also, that they've been trying to build support for a plan to let Russia take over certain territory so long as Russian troops back down. And they've reportedly been gathering information about Ukraine's critical infrastructure and handing that over to Russia too. President Biden says none of this is surprising because, as he put it, Russia has a long history of using measures other than overt military action to carry out aggression. And Biden still says Russia would face severe consequences if it did decide to actually invade Ukraine, which is a U.S. ally. Remember, about 100,000 Russian troops have been sent to Ukraine's border, leaving many world leaders to believe an attack is coming. Also this week, the U.S. gave the go-ahead for NATO members to send American-made weapons to Ukraine. So Ukraine will get anti-tank weapons and air defense systems to defend itself. The U.S. is also planning on sending Ukraine 5 helicopters. Other NATO members have sent weapons as well, and the British government sent in troops to train Ukraine's military. Of course, the hope is none of this will actually be needed. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken plans to meet with his Russian counterpart today, making a case for de-escalation. Stay tuned. The CIA has been working to get to the bottom of the so-called Havana syndrome that's been affecting diplomats, troops, and other U.S. personnel all around the world. And now the American spy agency says it has not found any evidence a foreign country could be behind it, as many people suspected. To recap, the mysterious ailment has been popping up since 2016. It was first detected in Havana, Cuba. Dozens of American diplomats and their support staff say they heard strange sounds, felt pulses of pressure in their heads, and had some other unusual physical sensations. Then they were left with nausea, headaches, and vertigo. In some cases, the symptoms went away. For others, they've been chronic and possibly irreversible. Since then, up to 1,000 U.S. personnel have reported similar cases all around the world. But now the CIA says a lot of those illnesses are related to environmental causes, undiagnosed medical issues, or stress, not any kind of attack. That said, the spy agency also noted about 24 cases still cannot be explained. It says while it's likely not the act of another country, it's not out of the question either. Plus, another U.S. official told The Washington Post the number of unexplained cases was actually much larger, and other investigations are pending that could reach different conclusions. New numbers show just how many Americans have been impacted by the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Since the start of the pandemic in early 2020, more than 69 million Americans have tested positive for COVID. In other words, 1/5 of all Americans have gotten the virus. And now, data from Johns Hopkins University shows more than 1/4 of those cases were reported in the past month alone. As you know, that's after the highly contagious Omicron variant became dominant in the United States. And still, the CDC says the cases reported are an undercount. Health experts have always said there's likely a gap between the reported numbers and the actual number of people who have actually gotten infected, since not everyone knows when they're sick with COVID-19 and not everyone gets tested. But now they say that gap is even wider since at-home tests have become more common. So health officials in some communities are analyzing wastewater instead to figure out how COVID-19 is circulating and where to send the most resources. This week, a company that tracks the wastewater found viral levels have started to drop in big cities, but are still rising in smaller communities. Some people are calling it the Great American Sickout. Early this month, the Census Bureau says almost 9 million Americans had to stay home from work because they either had COVID-19 or were caring for someone who did. That's 6% of the U.S. workforce. And it's a record number of Americans out sick since the Bureau started tracking it at the start of the pandemic. On top of that, more than 3 million Americans told the Bureau they weren't working either because they're worried about the virus spreading and getting sick from it. That's up 25% from last month. The surge in missing workers is impacting all kinds of industries, from hospitals to schools to airlines. It's impacting entertainment, too. This week, Adele had to postpone her Las Vegas residency indefinitely, just one day before it was supposed to start. The popular singer posted a tearful apology video to her fans on social media and said she was gutted by the decision to postpone. She blamed delivery delays and said half her team and crew have come down with COVID-19, and it's just impossible to finish the show now. Adele did say all the dates will be rescheduled, and she'll give updates when she has them. All right, we have more news coming up, but first, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsor. As part of my morning routine every day, I take 2 capsules of Seed's Daily Synbiotic. I take it on an empty stomach, as they recommend, and I just love how they make me feel. So this is a pre- and probiotic 2-in-1 capsule. There are 24 clinically and scientifically studied strains, the first of its kind. It's for supporting gut health, skin health, it promotes heart health, and more. As someone who cares about my whole body health, I was looking for the best probiotic on the market a while back. I did quite a bit of research, and I actually found Seed before I even partnered with them. And now I'm excited Seed is a sponsor of the show because after taking the Daily Synbiotic for a while, I've noticed the benefits of this product on my health. I am truly impressed. In fact, I even got my husband to start taking these as well. And I love that you can now get a discount. You can get 15% off your first month's supply of Seed's Daily Synbiotic by visiting seed.com/newsworthy or by using the code newsworthy at checkout. Again, you can get 15% off your first month's supply of Seed's Daily Synbiotic by going to seed.com/newsworthy or use the code newsworthy at checkout. Peanut allergies could be a thing of the past for some kids. A new study shows young children may be able to overcome the allergy if it's treated early enough. Here's how the study went. Researchers slowly gave more and more peanut protein powder to a group of toddlers to build up their tolerance for peanuts. After 2.5 years, almost 3/4 of them could handle around 16 peanuts without having an allergic reaction. And even 6 months after they stopped the treatment, 1/5 of the kiddos still had the same tolerance. The study showed it seemed to work best in the youngest children and ones who have milder allergies. But the study's co-author said more research needs to be done to see how long the effects could last. By the way, there is already another treatment for peanut allergies, but it's only for kids 4 and up. And when the kids stop taking that one, the protection from an allergic reaction stops. One more story for parents. If you have a baby at home, you may want to check their pacifiers. A popular brand is recalling 2 designs because they could come apart and be a choking hazard. The brand is Mushy & Co., and the 2 designs in the recall are Classic and Daisy. They were sold all over the country at stores like TJ Maxx, Amazon, and some baby boutiques. The recalled pacifiers were sold between April and December of last year. Thankfully, no injuries have been reported, but if you do have one, the U.S. Product Safety Commission says to stop using it right away. And the company says it'll refund your money if you send a picture of your pacifier through the website. We'll put a link in today's episode notes. Amazon is rolling out a new rival for retailers, a physical clothing store. The tech giant is opening its first brick-and-mortar clothing store in Southern California. It's called Amazon Style, and it'll sell clothes, shoes, and accessories for women and men. But it's not your average shopping experience. It's more of a high-tech experience. The store will only display one of everything, and the rest will be in the back of the store so customers won't have to sift through racks. Instead, shoppers can use the Amazon Shopping app to scan their items' QR code. They can even add the items to a physical dressing room to try on. The dressing rooms have touch screens inside where people can request more items. Those screens will suggest items as well. Amazon will keep a record of everything a customer scans so its algorithms can come up with personalized recommendations. Or people can skip the dressing room experience altogether and send their items right to the pickup counter. As for when it'll open, the company only says later this year. By the way, it's just the latest in Amazon's lineup of physical locations. Others include cashierless convenience, grocery, and bookstores. A teen pilot is now the youngest woman to fly solo around the world. 19-year-old Zara Rutherford landed her small plane in western Belgium yesterday, 155 days after taking off from that same spot. Her flight around the globe was only supposed to take 3 months, but bad weather and visa issues kept her grounded at some points, so that took an extra 2 months. She faced everything from wildfires in California to bitter cold temperatures in Russia. Overall, she flew 28,000 miles, stopped over in 5 continents, and visited 41 countries. She broke the record set by 30-year-old American aviator Shasta Ways in 2017. But Rutherford cannot beat the overall record since Travis Ludlow set that one last year as an 18-year-old. There's a new top Disney song. The song from the hit movie Encanto just beat out Frozen's Oscar-winning hit, Let It Go. It's called We Don't Talk About Bruno, and it's catchy. The tune is now the highest-charting song from a Disney animated movie since 1995. It hit number 4 on this week's Billboard Hot 100 chart thanks to 29 million streams and 8,000 downloads sold. Those numbers helped it surpass Frozen's Let It Go, which made it to number 5 in 2014. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, BetterHelp. Is something stopping you from achieving your goals? I've had moments in my life where I realized fear or at other times burnout was preventing me from doing my best work and being my happiest self. But when you get to the core of what's going on, you can do something about it. And BetterHelp wants to help. BetterHelp will assess your needs and help match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And if you don't like your match, you can easily switch counselors until you find the right one for you. Then you connect in a safe, private, and convenient online environment. It's also up to you whether you communicate via text, a phone call, a video session, or all of the above. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. And of course, anything you share is confidential. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Join more than 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Now back to Feel Good Friday. Animal shelters across the country are feeling the love thanks to Betty White and social media. The Golden Girl, who died on December 31st, was a dedicated animal welfare activist and longtime volunteer and board member of the organization American Humane. After she died, fans on social media started a movement asking people to give $5 to any rescue or animal shelter in White's honor. Well, the hashtag Betty White Challenge took off, and by Monday, which would have been her 100th birthday, animal organizations were blown away by the response. One Canada-based animal shelter raised more than $400,000 from the Betty White Challenge. Shelters in Florida, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin got more than $50,000 each. And the Los Angeles Zoo, which the actress supported, said it got a whopping $70,000 in donations on Monday and $95,000 overall as part of the challenge. And the list goes on and on. Many rescue organizations took to, where else, social media, to share their delight and to thank everyone who donated. We will be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're talking about how reliable COVID-19 tests are and what to take away from the newest CDC isolation guidelines. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thanks for listening and have a great weekend.